This is Peter, and this is Peter's building. Unless you are watching this outside, the kind of building that you are probably in right now, along with all the other buildings that you live and work in, make up nearly 40% of our total carbon emissions. But the buildings that Peter builds are different, especially this one. We are going to talk to Peter about the lessons that he has learned in his 40-plus years spent creating energy-efficient buildings and what he thinks the future of housing is going to have to look like on this episode of Renewable.
I started thinking about sustainability during the first oil crisis. I had some goofy ideas about energy efficiency that I thought I could incorporate in log houses, and then I heard a man named Harold Orr. One day I'd come in from my log house out in the country, and when he broke down the sort of engineering and of the heat flows, it was like I went back to my little log house, which I loved doing, and I just said, I can't do this anymore.
And so Peter, the man who loved nature so much that he lived in a log cabin, had to abandon it when he realized how energy inefficient it was. So what's a guy without a cabin to do? Well, Peter got to work, designing a new kind of house for a new kind of clientele.
So a net zero house is a house that produces all of its own energy over the course of a year. So that means that the energy that's used for lighting, for appliances, for hot water, heating, cooling, everything, all the energy used in that house is produced on the site.
But if you think about how much energy a typical house uses, you start to realize that there's really no way to produce that much on site. As Peter puts it,
you would need a solar array that would take the whole yard, and you'd have to have warning lights for low-flying aircraft and stuff like that.
Meaning, you need to radically reduce the amount of energy that you're using. Energy in, energy out. But Peter's way of building can only do so much good if the only people living in them are families with the economic stability to afford this kind of premium product. Which brings us here, to Peter's new project, a project years in the making, a collaboration with a church and a nonprofit that signals the future of sustainable housing.
This building is the first affordable net zero energy housing in the country. And right next door, we have the first net zero energy church. The main occupants of this building will be large immigrant families. I mean, large immigrant families are probably, of any group in the city, have the most trouble finding decent, affordable housing.
There's not very much multi-bedroom housing available in the city, and what there is doesn't come cheap. So, if it's expensive, how exactly can a nonprofit afford to put up the money?
Well, it actually makes a lot of sense. By building a building like this that's highly durable, that produces all of its own energy over the course of the year, they'll have very, very low operating costs. And the lower the amount of money that the society has to spend on keeping the building going, the better, and ultimately it enables them to continue to build more housing.
We wrapped up with Peter in what will someday soon be a family's living room or bedroom or kitchen. By the time this building opens, it will have brought so many new families to the neighborhood that the old school nearby will actually be able to stay open. And we asked him why projects like this matter, not just the communities that they service, but to him. You can tell his heart is in it. He plans on building the front door himself.
This is the direction we're all going to go. If we're not going to just say, sorry kids, maybe Elon Musk can find you another planet. Like it's that simple. If we don't, we've got until about 2050 to make the developed world carbon neutral. So there's a natural turnover in buildings. But about 70 to 80% of the buildings we're going to be using in 2050 when we need to be carbon neutral are already built. So we're going to have to retrofit those buildings, which is going to be a massive task. And it's going to take all the resources we have for that kind of thing. We can't afford to build any more buildings that we've got to fix, because the more recent buildings are even harder to fix. I have this particular skill set that I have that I have a really pretty solemn responsibility to do what I can about it. And I'm having the time of my life. I've never felt more engaged in any of my 70 years. This feels really good to do it. And I connect with my kid around it. It's just, I'm not going to have any regrets when whatever happens, if it all goes down. And I'm worried that it could, but I'm not gonna beat myself up. I've done my bit.
On this season of Renewable, we are going to be looking at people, each with their own unique vision of a sustainable future in the heart of Canada's fossil fuel industry. Follow us at Green Yeg to find out when new episodes are coming out, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we hope to have you back for the next episode of Renewable.